Borghildr Torgisl. The Svanir spoke beside the pristine pool. You saw Borghildr Torgisl as the counsellor that removes the veils from view that truth may be beheld. You said, the listener listens, he watches and sees, he notes the patterns, he sees the sets. Traits arranged before him as probabilities, and he calculates and he questions. He considers and then calculates more. He sees the mind as another sees the body. He touches the mind, and as he does, beams of light force through cloud. His medium is reflection. He is the mirror. He requires consent. He requires humility. He requires vulnerability. His voice is the source of the searching light. His voice demands. He removes the clothes. He produces nakedness. He touches the form of thought. He pushes against discrepancy, the difference, the disconnect between the mind and its burdened charge. Recall, Borghildr, castle battle, joined Torgisl, thunder's arrow. Borghildr is the hall keeper. She is the stone of the walls. She is the light of the windows. She is the honor of the altar. She is the integrity of the soul. She has the beauty of granite. She rises from the ground with the silence of a fortress of stone. But when the wind is blowing, she howls with the storm, and her consort, Torgisl, spits from her windows on all that would defile bolts of her molten will. To Borghildr and Torgisl, Svanir said, you are together 1/12 of my father's counsel. You are together 1/12 of my father's will. You are together one of my father's 12 limbs. What is your counsel? Borghildr faced Torgisl across the fire. Together they held Kenner's cup. Borghildr spoke. I am the battlement. I am the walls of the house. I am the keeper of the fire. Torgisl spoke. I am the essential ember. I am the hissing flame. I am the shooting spark. Borghildr spoke. If you would maintain your charge, if you would keep that by which to know your way, then you must enclose that flame within such walls as will secure its breath. Torgisl spoke. If you would keep the cold breath at bay, if you would sit before your fire, if you would watch the flame, then you must with fire protect the walls that will secure its breath. Svanir asked, how might I know you? Borghildr and Torgisl spoke as one. Svanir, you will know us when you stand in the peace of divine beauty. You will know us when you stand with mind in love. You will know us when you stand in trust of the pure. You will know us when you stand with mercy for the stone. You will know us when you stand in consideration of the rule of life. You will know us when you sit to feed your mind and body. You will know us when you fly to see the sea jewel. You will know us when in war you become the elf blood. You will know us when by your spirit you make your shield. You will know us when by your spirit you swing your sword. You will know us when as a shield you thrust your spear. You will know us when the fire arrows breach the night. You will know us when you realize that protection comes from the inferno that governs your soul. We are the walls of the oven. We insulate the breath by which the fire may ever brighter burn. Svanir listened and heard. She responded, I would know you. Borghildr Torgisl spoke as one. Then you must enclose the root ember of your spirit, and in that furnace you must tend it, feed it, nurture it, that it brightens and burns. Svanir asked, what is the meaning of enclosing the spirit in walls? Borghildr Torgisl spoke. To enclose the spirit is not to stifle the spirit, but to protect its essential source. To remove the walls is not to let the spirit fly, but to let its heat dissipate into the darkness of night. The fire must be protected if it is to burn slow, steady, and long, if its heat is to spread to warm not just a flash of surrounding air, but also the walls and the floor and those met and known forever. The spirit is the root ember of the fire. It is the flame that burns in the innermost sanctum of the castle hall. It is that which feeds all that know it. It is the last light to flicker when all else has gone dark. Fiacre asked, "What is the relationship between the councillor and the castle that spits fire from high windows?" The Svanir answered, "The strength of the castle walls reflects the strength of the council that forms them. From the battlements she gazes and sees, and she speaks to him, and he listens and considers and asks, and so she looks again, and more she sees, and more he considers and asks. And all the while the walls thicken, snow may fall from freezing air to encrust with clinging ice the Raven Tower, and yet never may it enter, never through opening of wall or through passage by door may that suffering sweep. For from every door, from every window, emitting from that one single flame, a wall of rushing heat surges to repel as a gust of extinguishing light." Fiacre said, "What does it mean to require consent, humility, and vulnerability?" The Svanir answered, "The fire must consent to the castle walls. The fire must be humble in knowing the cold. The fire must know it is vulnerable, if it is to consent to its confinement." Fiacre said, "Why should fire submit to confinement?" The Svanir answered, "So that it may repel, that it may feed and grow. The fire is the candle in the lantern is the councillor. The walls that confine, that channel, that make use of the heat, those walls are the councillor you saw. The councillor reflects, his voice is in the stone, and in the tapestries, and in the glass, all lit by flame, that tell the stories that must be known. By those stories, her fire warms and grows, until that ember becomes of searing white contained, governed in a basin of honeyed gold. The fire and the walls are one. The councillor reflects both the will and the result of the will to know. The councillor is the inevitable knowledge. The councillor is the becoming of the objective. The councillor is the tender of the seeker's view of the light.